absolutely excruciating. It's so painful that when I touch it, it stings. It's like I've been in a boxing match.
Cindy's local dentist surgery took her off its NHS list and won't put her back on. No longer accepting new NHS patients, she can't get the help she needs.
The pain is so excruciating. Psychologically, you don't know what to do. You want something, you want help.
Today, a damning report from the Health and Social Care Select Committee has called for urgent reforms to dental care in England, citing a crisis of access to NHS services that's even driving people to take out teeth with pliers.
The MPs described the pain and distress caused by not being able to see an NHS dentist as totally unacceptable in the 21st century. They say that their frustrated recommendations made 15 years ago by another committee of MPs haven't yet been implemented. They say too that the way the government pays dentists encourages them to prioritise private patients over meeting local need.
Last year, it was reported that 9 in 10 practices weren't accepting new NHS patients, and a recent survey by YouGov found 10% of people in the UK had resorted to attempting their own dental work.
We've had instances on not just one occasion, but several occasions where people have told us that they've been pulling out their own teeth. They've been lancing their own abscesses. They've been overdosing on painkillers, on analgesics. They've been going to, ended up in A&E because of that. They've been drinking excessive amounts of alcohol to numb the pain. It's just awful to listen to and hear and talk to these poor people who have been abandoned by the NHS.
The report found rural as well as deprived areas are worse hit, with poorer, more marginalised communities much more likely to avoid treatment because of costs.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
At the heart of suggested reforms, changes to the contract system that dentists say put them under financial pressure.
I think the real challenge for us is there's been a lack of investment in the NHS over the last 10-15 years. So if I was running a purely NHS practice, I would not have enough money to A, pay my staff, to manage inflation, to pay for materials. Material costs have gone up dramatically, and to cover investments that I'd like to put into the practice, to put new equipment, new materials, new radiography equipment. It's going to cost me a lot of money to do that. And if I was a pure NHS practice, that would not be possible.
In a statement to Channel 4 News, the Department of Health and Social Care told us they were working to improve access to NHS dental care, that they'd increased the funding practices receive for high needs patients, and that they'd announced a 40% increase in dentistry training places. But the government's dental recovery plan, promised early this year, is yet to materialise. For those in pain and unable to afford private dental care, which can run to hundreds or even thousands of pounds, every second longer is agony.
Amelia Jen with that report. Well, the Conservative MP Steve Bryan chairs the Health and Social Care Select Committee. He joins me now from Winchester in the dry shelter of the Theatre Royal. Thanks for coming on the programme, Steve Bryan. How shocked are you by Amelia's report about the terrible, terrible state of the teeth of our nation?
Well, we were very shocked as a committee. And remember, it's a cross-party committee. We just follow the evidence. And the evidence is shocking. So, you know, 5-hour round trips, people with small children to get to an NHS dentist, if they could find one. People resorting to DIY dentistry, as you've said. People faced with eye-watering, that's after you've had the eye-watering time in the chair, eye-watering bills for root canal treatment, which are not things that you can just put off until, you know, you can save up till next Christmas. You've got to meet the thing. But, you know, that's why we say in our report that it is totally unacceptable in the 21st century that we find ourselves in this situation. Right. The government, you know, have made changes in NHS dentistry, and they are ambitious, and they say everyone should have access to an NHS dentist who wants one. But Tony Blair said that in 1999. It didn't happen then, and we're light years from it happening now. Yeah, but you've been in charge, or your party has been in charge for 13 years now, and it's just got an awful lot worse. So this is on your watch, isn't it? Well, you say it's got a lot worse. I mean, actually, my predecessor committee 15 years ago, so before this government or the coalition government were even in office, were recommending changes to the contract. We don't need changes and tweaks to this contract. The British Dental Association are very clear. The contract needs fundamentally replacing. At the moment, it's very boring and technical for a Friday night, but dentists are paid on units of dental activity, UDAs. We need to change that to a capitation system where they are paid to deliver holistic prevention, person-centred care, which is why they went into dentistry in the first place. There's no shortage of dentists in this country. You'll often cover reports on Channel 4 News about shortages in the workforce. There's no shortage of dentists. There's a shortage of dentists that want to work in NHS dentistry because it just doesn't pay for them to do it, and the system doesn't allow them to practice what they've trained so hard to do. So we can train 40% more, that's fantastic. But if we don't stem the exodus, then as the British Dental Association have said, you know, we could be looking at NHS dentistry becoming a thing of the past.
Okay, I have to say, if you don't mind me saying so, your teeth look rather good, actually. They're in rather good shape. Who fixes your teeth, the NHS or private dentists? There we go. We've seen them now.
I had a
lovely row.
Thank you so much. I had an NHS dentist, and guess what? My NHS dentist has just gone fully private. And talking to her, she's a perfect example because she does not want to do that. It's been a huge wrench for her to do it. So alongside fundamental contract replacement, we are saying in the report today that the government need to do a big return to dentistry campaign like we had return to nursing, because people, even if we change the contract, replaced it to something that works tomorrow, people have left, and it's going to be a huge ask to get them back.
Right.
We need the government to bring forward this NHS dentistry recovery plan that you rightly talked about in your report, and hopefully today's inquiry report that we've brought out will push this issue. There's an election coming, and I hope that will focus minds.
Okay, what about focusing minds on the strike right now? Junior doctors in the middle of yet another strike. This is historically bad, not just for the NHS, but also for all the people who are trying to go to the NHS. Why doesn't Steve Barclay do a deal with the doctors? And the way that we heard from Gillian Keegan earlier in the programme, she's doing a deal with the teachers.
Well, the government have done a deal with them all and come up with, I think, what I said in the House of Commons yesterday.
But it's not a deal, they're still on strike.
And proportionate. Well, yeah, because they're not accepting it. As the Prime Minister said yesterday, and I have to say I agree with him, they need to know when to say yes. This is fair, this is proportionate to the whole economy, to all taxpayers. It's about a 10.3% rise for junior doctors once you take into account the 6% pay rise and the £1,250 uplift. Look, it's not 35%, Matt, I'll grant you. You know, we don't all get everything we want in life. The NHS needs them back at the front line. The waiting lists need them back at the front line. Credit to the teaching unions, who I think have put children first and put aside the politics. The British Medical Association, this is not doctors, the British Medical Association, I don't think is doing a huge amount of credit to some of our doctors at the front line. You know, they need to get off the picket line and know when to say yes.
All right, final question. I gather you're one of the 43 Tory MPs who are leaving. You're not going to contest the next election. Now, why are you leaving, and why so many Tories? Because it's only 14 Labour MPs are leaving, and the average age of them is 72. You're 49.
Well, look, I mean, anyone who's dead interested, as lots of my constituents have, can visit my website and read the letter I wrote to my local party. Look, I'll have served 14 plus years by the time of the next election. I've been a whip, I've been a government minister, I've chaired a select committee, and I've been away an awful lot. It comes at a price. I've got young children. You know, I'd like to be around a little bit more. And
you don't want to be in opposition.
At the end of the day, politics is a fantastic politics. It's not about that because actually being on the back benches, as I am right now, you can achieve fantastic things. I think we're moving the dial on dentistry with our report today, and I'm doing that from the back benches. It's just about, you know, I'd like to get a little bit of my life back.
Okay, well, enjoy that. Steve Bryan, thank you very much indeed.